Shalom. Call halal Yahweh by Shemawah Shai by Hashem Rakar Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathens that look like the heathens. And to the Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you, I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And I got a couple books here on screen. Although I do have this book, I'm just using a screen image of it. Of Nature Knows No Color Line, and then I'm also going into this book by Dante Fortson. All right. Called The Hiding of the Hebrews. Did the America kidnap the lost tribes of Israel? Well, America confiscated, was confiscated from the lost tribes of Israel, part of them. All right. One thing on Mr. Fortson, I don't know who he is or what his Hebrew name is. He ducks and dodges it. It's obvious through his books that he was a part of the One West. All right, or that he learned from someone from One West. All right, and he's definitely not acknowledging the Northern Kingdom, but he does put together a lot of information that clearly proves, the ethnicity of the Hebrews originally, and they were of a so-called Negroid, type. The book, matter of fact, let me grab that book off the shelf. The Young's Bible Dictionary behind me, and as everyone knows, the Zondervans, but I'm going to read the Young's Bible Dictionary, and also a special shout out to the beloved brother Zahar, the water beloved, for this next cache of books. As a matter of fact, this Dante Fortson book was in one of those caches, and yeah, I'm sorting them out and going through them, and my library definitely has grown. Especially thanks to you as of lately, brother. So the water, and may Yahweh, continue to cover, protect you, your brothers, and your family, and Yahweh Ratazah, we on those chariots together. And that's including all of you who are listening and learning, But let me go to the Young's Dictionary Bible. And this is all being done through the Spirit. I didn't like sit down and look over information and write down precepts and all that. I just had I went through the books. I got this, a couple images in my phone. And, and this was a book that I had been reading as of lately, this Hiding of the Hebrews, and decided, I'm going to go ahead and go into it once, and, So here we are. So this is the definition of Ham from the Young's Bible Dictionary. All right. And it reads, Ham, a son of Noah and father of Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. See further on each of these four. While they all may have been dark-skinned, they were not the forefathers of the Negroid races. All right? But the rathers, the people associated with Egypt in the north of the continent of Africa, which is Asia. All right? Because I got another book where they were they were talking about the Byzantine Empire and talking about Europe. Byzantine Empire is in Asia. Europe starts above the above Turkey. All right? The land of Israel and the Byzantine Empire, Turkey, where Turkey sits today, that was all Asia. All right? So you got to remember, these people are liars. They change, landmarks and that whole sort of thing, and all that's in the Bible. But it says, but rather the Egyptians thought of Canaan as one of their provinces, even into the very latter time. So the Negroid races, he said, they're not Africans. And of course, the Zondervan Dictionary Bible identifies, just like this one, the Africans as Egyptians, Libyans, Put, and Canaan. those make up your Hamitic Africans that all in the Sahara down to the south of Africa, even in the northern tip. They were all over. All right. The Negroid races, all right, were the 12 tribes of Israel. And primarily only 3 of them fled into Africa. As a matter of fact, we're going to this book. And in this book on Dante Fortson's book on page 20, he has a map. I think it's a map is from the 1800s, 1873 or 1783 or something like that. And you see Ethiopia, but you see Negro land above Ethiopia. All right. And that's the kingdom of Mali and Benin and you know, and all those Western states, because when all those countries that settled along, you see that Negro land right there? All right, and Ethiopia, you see Ethiopia, well, above it is Negro land. The whole western portion of Africa, you know, that was where the Hebrew Israelites fled to when they fled Roman persecution. All right, as a matter of fact, I just want to grab that book. See, this wasn't prepared. So let me grab the book that gives you an account on that. I'm looking for Babylon to Timbuktu. All right, so now we're in Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor, and it gives you the account. I think it's on page 84. All right, yeah. So this book, page 84. You know, in Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor. Okay. Okay, and on page 84 it reads, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. And the general that they used to do this, by the way, all right, was a Jake named Tiberius Alexander, which they didn't mention right here. Okay, but it says during the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. All right, and they weren't Jewish; they were Judeans. All right, that Jewishness were the people, basically the Herodians. All right, the Edomite converts from even at that time who had converted, because there were Edomites that actually fought with Israelites at this time. All right, and those were those converts who are converted, you know, from the time of John Hyrcanus. All right, which is evidence of a whole lot of other things, you know, especially the coinage proving that the Israelites were definitely a Negroid race of people. Okay, so let's see if we can get that map into focus again of Negro land, the kingdom of Benin. Here's a larger picture of it. All right. Okay. The kingdom of Benin, Negro land. All right. Let's go to the big map of the whole thing. Hold on. Where was it? Slovakia. Here we go. So that's the map in its like in its entirety. Okay. So you got New Guinea and Negroland and Benin and Mali. You know, all along all those countries that were developed along the Niger River. All right. That's what those were. Hold on, let me turn this thing off. These messages coming in. All right. So, there was another image I wanted to show. So definitely, he put this in there. We all like to use this. You know what the president of Egypt said in 1951. All right, and he said it on national TV. I actually saw the video of this. Every time someone puts it up on the internet, they remove it. But I remember watching this video with a Jordanian, an Ishmaelite, who translated for him. And I told him, you know, that I had heard of this, and I quoted it. And then when after listening to it, he said exactly what you said. All right. And it says, but here you can see what he said was written, is quoted. It says, when he was asked about the peace in the Middle East, the late president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated the Jews would never be able to live here in peace because they left here black and come back white. And then he asked the question, who are you people? All right. So because here you go, you look at it, Uriah likes to use this artifact right here. This was showing you the Assyrians, taking Hebrews into captivity. All right. These dark-skinned Arabs were taking these bearded, woolly-haired, bearded-faced men, Israelites, into captivity. All right. So, you have to ask yourself, who are the goldsmiths, the Goldsteins, and, the Bergs and the Oppenheimers? Who are those people? Okay. This is a image, a tapestry of Moses leading the children of Israel and Aaron. Those are not so-called white people, And you got to remember, Moses lived among the Egyptians, and there was a tomb that was opened up barely 2 years ago. The Egyptians were a Negroid race, but they love to show you white Egyptians from the time when the Ptolemies took over Egypt. All right. So, matter of fact, that brings to mind another scripture. And let's put up some evidences of what was going on in Europe. Here we go. from the book Nature Knows No Color Line. Let's put that up. And let me go to this scripture, which is Job 13:4. And these lessons are to uplift Jake and to uplift and educate, edify the elect, and to also uplift and edify the naysayers by giving them the evidences in history that have been whitewashed, covered up, or denied. But this is Job 13:4. But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. All right. Truth has been hidden from the world. I'm going to get one of my favorite scriptures in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter. All right. And 27-28 verse. And it reads, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome. And the truth, which have been so long with fruit, shall be declared. All right. And that truth is being declared. You're looking at the noble families of Europe. All right. Central Europe. That's who these people are. These are the noble families of Central Europe and their coats of arms. And what you see in modern day, you see these same coats of arms put up, minus the bandana wearing, mitre wearing Negroes. All right. A lot of these were even from Germany. All right. They have Kufstein, Gettler, Stasso. So these Schwarzkopf. Okay. Let's look at some more. All right. So these are, genuine coats of arms, which have been denied. Okay. They tried to whitewash that. And the beloved brother Shatia, Yahweh blessed him to go on a trip to Europe. And he went to, because I think last time he went to Scotland, to Ireland. He's in Scotland now. And he sent me these very condemning images because he, the brother just didn't go. He checked with me first and I gave him the blessing, but here we have an image of King James and I'm in my phone and I'm going to show you. And this is from the Scotland Museum. All right. A museum in Scotland. And it shows you an image of King James, a Renaissance painted image of King James. All right. You can clearly see that that's a white guy. And then it shows you a coin, also of King James. Okay, you see the coin now. It's trying to get there we go. The light right. Okay. For a silver groat. Now I'm going to give you an extreme close-up of that image. All right. You got to remember King James' son Okay. Here's the image that they painted. All right. And it says portrayed. All right. In Margot Tudor's book of Hours of 1503. So this was a Edomite depiction of King James. But now let's look at this coin up close. All right. And let's enlarge it. You will clearly see the Negroid features on it. Clearly. All right. See if we can bring that into focus. You know, you might want to screenshot this one, but you can see that wide lips, those wide nose, those Negroid features. It's very clear to see. Just trying to adjust this light because the light's making a weird glare, but I really want you to be able to see that. All right. There it is. There it is. All right. See that nose? See those lips? And then that crown. So that's that very coin. Looks nothing like the image that you were watching. That we were looking at that sits above it. So they tell them themselves. So they put that instead of showing you the coin, you can clearly see the coin. They give you this fake image at the top of it. All right, what you can clearly see is that of a so-called Edomite. So, you know, of a person that looks like an Edomite. So that was the whitewashing of history, because you got to remember the saying that in the book that what's his name, Benjamin Franklin wrote. You know, he wrote a letter or a short book. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that. I usually keep that right in my evidence. There we go. I'm to it. All right, and it's called Observations Concerning the Increase of Mankind, 1751. First time I ever heard this article was when Elder Taj brought it out, Elder Bishop Taj. And at the last paragraph, it says, why increase? And I'm see if I can put this on the screen. That portion of it. Yeah, and I can. I'm going to read it right through the phone. Let you read it for yourself. So let's do it like this. Right to the evidence files. So it says, why increase the sons of Africa, which they're lying about that, by planting them in America when we have so far the opportunity by excluding all blacks and tawnies of the increasing lovely white and red, only red, not white, but perhaps impartial, the complex of my country, complexion of my country, for such as particularly is natural in mankind. Hold on, I got to read above that. All right, because he basically goes, it's that whole last paragraph. Yeah, I need to read the whole thing, and I can't enlarge all of it, so I'll just read it. You can go and look this up. Matter of fact, let me put it on the screen so you can go see it for yourself, because eventually they're going to remove this from the internet, because this is very condemning information. This proves that the Europeans were not white. This letter, all right, that was written by one of America's founding forefathers, Observations Concerning the Increase of Mankind, 1751. That was written by Benjamin Franklin. So I'm going to read the last paragraph. All right. And it reads, and they got it numbered. So it's paragraph 24. And it says, which leads me to add one remark, that the number of purely white people, all right, in the world is proportionally very small. So like the scripture said, I will make you small among the heathen. All right. All of Africa is black or tawny, so that's like my complexion or much darker, meaning you're brown, from light brown, yellow, all the way up to a super chocolate brown. All right. It says Asia chiefly tawny, different shades of brown. America is exclusive of the newcomers, wholly so. All right. So it's telling you that Americans were all tawny and brown. All right. Talking about the natives. All right. Because the lighter complected ones now, the lighter tawny complexion ones, that's a result of the rape and the robbery. Okay. When it spoke about Negroid races earlier. Okay. It says, and in Europe, So he just admitted that all Europeans were so-called dark. Okay, and they were in the beginning. When the sons of Japhet were ran out of Europe, and then when the Israelites took it over after the fall of Rome. Okay, they like to whitewash and hide this history, and this is why they try to paint, all the kings in the succession of James and all the other people around that era as so-called white people, because they want to hide the fact that the so-called white man he's not the actual European. They want to hide that. That's why they make all these movies and they show you the Vikings and the Brits and the Scots and the Irish as being so-called white. It's the same thing as they show, as I showed you the images of the Egyptians. They show you Egyptians from the time that Ptolemy came in and took over, when so-called white people took over Egypt. Well, it's the same thing with modern day Europe. The people there now and in Poland and in Ukraine and in Russia and all that, those pale people they're the people that are there now after the removal of Japhet by their forefather Alexander of Macedon, and then after the removal of the so-called Negroes after the fall of Rome. Okay, so they took it over after the fact, and they don't want people to know that history. And Putin is constantly getting on TV showing you images of, showing you the images of, of the holy relics all being dark complected. I got a book up front about the Russian art, and it's showing you all the icons, and they're all so-called Negroes. They're all dark or tawny. Okay, well, let's finish this letter. It says, and in Europe, all right, it says Spaniards and Italians, French and Russians and Swedes, as you're looking at these coats of arms, all right, as you're looking at all these different coats of arms, these were people in those lands, Sweden and Germany, Central Europe. Let's see if we can make this one bigger. Here we go. Spanish. Okay. This is different parts of this is Italian. So let's go back to the letter. And in Europe, the Spaniards, the Italians, the French, the Russians, the Swedes are generally of what we call swarthy complexions. All right, swarthy meaning dark skin, blackish, brown. Actually, there's no such thing as black. All right, it just told you. I'll read that again for those who missed it. It says, and in Europe, the Spaniards and Italians, the French, the Russians, the Swedes are all generally of what we call swarthy complexion. All right, as are the Germans also. The Saxons only accepted. So they trying to say that the Anglo-Saxons, the angelic sons of Isaac were also so-called Negroes. All right. So he's trying to say King James. We just saw the image of King James that they falsified, and then we saw a coin of him being a so-called Negro. All right. So they're liars, man. And it says, who with the English make up the principal body of white people. Now they do, all right, on the face of the earth. I could wish their numbers were increased, and while we are, as I may call it, scouring our planet by clearing America of woods and making this side of the globe reflect a brighter light to the eyes of inhabitants of Mars and Venus. See all that bullshit. Why should we, in the sight of superior in the sight of superior beings, darken its people? So they were trying to keep all the darkies from coming. It's like he was saying we're getting rid of brown people in America. Why bring those Germans over? What Germans? These Germans. All right, Gedler, Kaufstein. What's this? Barcoz Mellet. All these German and what they call today Jewish names with Negro coats of arms. Okay, so the truth is out, man. I just watched a video where one of the Rothschilds was complaining about, the internet and trying to say that, all the dangers of hacking and we should have just stuck to pencil and paper and this, that, and the other. But it's prophesied in the Bible in Psalms, the 19th chapter, that the internet will come out, and that's how the truth came out. And it's not terrorist, it's not internet terrorist attacks that they fear. All right, the fear is that the truth of who they really are being exposed, and that is exactly what's happened. Because in these people's mind, truth is hate and an act of terror. All right, just by speaking the truth. You don't have to be an advocate for violence. We don't advocate violence. We just advocate truth. And to them, truth is dangerous. All right, because truth would only be dangerous to someone whose whole existence is all based upon lies. So with that, I'm gonna give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash, Wa Abba Babal, Kwam Yasrala Shalom.